briefly thought about doing this out in the backyard because little Shadow Puff is having difficulties with wanting to be around people or trying to come in. It's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back some days. So she's currently, I got her in. It took some time. And this time I basically had to leave the door wide open and go herd her around the yard. Herd the herding dog, so they like it sometimes. So yesterday I was all concerned about, or I talked about how I was all concerned yesterday morning about trying to figure out how I'm going to pay these bills that I have coming up, and you know what I was going to do about that. So I woke up and fed the dogs, and then was stressed about this thing, and couldn't break myself of being stressed out about it. So I went ahead and started writing, you know, because of course my little message came back to me, kind of flashed in my my mind. It is, you know, the universe provides, trust the process, right? So I did some writing, decided I was going to go over to the storage unit and look through some stuff and see what I have to sell. And there's actually a ton that I could sell. And so I posted a few things, right? Well, not immediately, I didn't do it right then. But then I thought about it, and I went to try to do a video earlier in the day, and it didn't work out. And then I decided to go look at the storage unit and take some pictures of things. And then, after I had that all out of my system, then I was able to do the video and actually have some clarity and actually be a little optimistic about some things. I don't know when I felt really drawn to this Sacred Rebel Oracle deck, but yesterday I did pull a card, and I think it was actually before I went to try the video the first time, so before the whole storage unit thing. I had written some things out that morning. I was just thinking about it, but hadn't made any moves on that. So I think was when I drew the card. Anyway, we'll just cover her boob. How about that? This, of course, was the card. So faith in the process. It's like, this deck has a message for me. And then I pulled that one. It's like, I mean, I feel like I don't even have to read any further to get that that's a message that I'm being encouraged to work on, because, you know, it already flashed to my mind on the poster that I have hanging up that says trust in the process. So now we have faith in the process, right? So I wrote it out in the journal last night, and it's like, this makes like so much more sense even after reading it. It's like, you already kind of know where it's going to go in theory, but I don't know, it just hit more. So it says, no matter how powerful we are, how much courage and strength we have, there are times when we can't quite move ourselves along to the next phase of life or creative exploration. At such times, we need some divine intervention, a little help in pulling our trolley along, so to speak. When we are at the edge of our own limits and have no more personal resources, we might be left with only one spiritual power, that of faith. Fortunately, that is enough. As unlikely as it may seem, the invisible help from the universe is often more powerful than the physical efforts of 1,000 men. That is because the invisible help is not limited by physical laws. It can shift, bend, and move in ways that defy limitation. It can affect, evoke, and influence situations through invisible yet undeniably persuasive means. You are in a situation where you cannot set right the course of events all by yourself. This is not an indication that you have done something wrong, nor does this suggest you are not strong enough. It is a sign that there is something bigger unfolding in your life, and your willpower will be supplemented by the power of life itself. Sometimes a bigger plan needs to manifest for the benefit of humanity and the earth. You need to shift your perspective to realize that you are part of the greater unfoldment of life, that your individual life serves the greater plan, and that you are not separate from its genius. This is what's happening now. You happen to be instrumental to the greater plan, and as such, you need to accept your position and be moved while also being empowered and protected as you make personal progress through your role in that grander scheme. Sorry. This is a time for humility and trust. You need complete faith in the processes and events that are happening. There is nothing to worry about, and you will be moved most fully and easily with the most grace and assistance through your faithful surrender. Ironically, it is through complete surrender and total faith that we become most empowered. When we are no longer trying to impede the perfection of the greater plan, we can be aligned with and moved by the process. Having faith in the benevolence of life rather than harboring the suspicion that life is seeking to catch us out, have a joke at our expense, or carelessly toss us about as though we mean nothing, then we can relax a little. Having faith in the process gives you space to be curious about what is taking place and to relax enough to be open to what we are most in need of, even if we aren't exactly sure what that is or how it can happen. The guidance from this oracle comes direct from the greater source of life itself. There is now an opportunity for you to be moved from the situation you are currently in to the next chapter in your life. You can't do it on your own. It is too big a shift. It needs the grace of life to intervene on your behalf. You will need faith, though. You may feel as though the wheels of your trolley are coming off or that they are a bit rickety, but you must also understand that the voice of life is now coming straight to your heart with this message. I have resources that you know not of. It is safe to trust in my ways and in my wisdom, for I love you and I am guiding you into what is rightfully yours. Know that what is rightfully yours is what your heart truly desires, and you need not fear loss. Nothing that is meant to come to you will be denied, and it is safe for you to let go and allow me to move you. Through faith, peace is restored, and you are able to know this and perhaps have some fun in the process. I'm going to go ahead and read the prayer on there too. So for the healing process, it says, say aloud, I now ask that all disappointing experiences of the past that have led me to believe that life is not trustworthy or that faith is a silly or immature way to deal with life be released from my mind, body, and heart. I ask for help to accept what I can and will attract all that is needed into my life at the perfect time and in the perfect way. I ask to be empowered to absolutely receive all that can assist me with gratitude and without shame or guilt. In doing so, I dedicate myself to be a clear, open channel for the flow of life. I know the benefit in doing so is not limited to me, but will flow so that life can benefit others through me. I trust in this now through unconditional love, so be it. So yeah, I was writing that down, and then I read through the thing. It's like, oh, yep. I don't think I wrote the healing process in the journal, but I still liked it. So last night I posted a bunch of stuff. Like I went ahead and when I got home, I ate something, and while I was eating, I was kind of quietly going on my pictures and posting things on that OfferUp website or app that I talked about briefly, I think. And I talked about being a little annoyed because I feel like I'm not sure how much of it I can actually post on Facebook without my mom being a pain in the ass about. However, I posted a few things. I posted this little nightstand, a plant stand, a bookcase, like that little one that I had my puzzles on at one point in time. Just some little odds and ends like that. She has not said anything about them so far. However, the nightstand, I had like 4 people contact me about it, and one of them was one of my mom's cousins. Not the side that, not the irritating side that nobody else really likes, but the side that, everybody else kind of got along with better. It's just drama. So, so it's like, well, if she would have messaged me first, then I absolutely would have, she would have had, or if it would have been before anybody else responded, I would have, prioritized getting it to her first. However, I was already talking to somebody else and had already gotten to a point where I was talking about, or she asked if I was ever on the south side of Indy and could maybe meet her there sometime. It's like, well, depending on where and when, I could probably make that happen. So, we had this conversation going, ended up making that happen, and got it dropped off today, so there was that. the plant stand, that one went like even faster. It was like this, it had like, I want to say like 5 shelves on it, 5 or 6. And it's this little skinny metal thing. And I was going to paint it for I thought about painting it for a long time. It had been in the room with the birds, and like it just needed cleaned in a big bad way, but it also needed painted. So I had this thought that I would do that because I really liked the plant stand, and then I just was over there last night and it's like, fuck it, that can go. I only listed it for like $5 because I said it did need to be cleaned and painted. But that's not really a difficult task. So somebody contacted me immediately on it, and she's like, if I give you the money, will you hold it for me? She said, I'm out of town. It's like, she said, but I will pay you the money now. It's like, all right. It's like, as long as you're willing to pay me the money to hold on to it, then absolutely. And so since I asked for $5 and she paid me through Venmo, she said she gave me extra in case, you know, to cover any of the fees and whatnot. And it's like, okay, well, that works. So I got $6 for it. When I was asking for 5, probably should have asked for 10 because I had a couple other people send me a message around that time too. Always go lower than I probably should, but then it's like, nah, whatever. At least those 2 things are accounted for. The one is out of my space. And the bookcase, the first guy that asked me about it apparently he didn't see exactly where I was located, but he's, you know, up in Fort Wayne, but apparently he can be here tomorrow. So I told him, since he was the only person at that time who had messaged me, that I would hold on to it till tomorrow morning, and you know, he's got to contact me again to verify when he's coming. And, you know, if that all falls through, then I'm moving on to the next one. This morning, however, I woke up and had like 5 messages from people wanting it. And it's like, yep, definitely shot myself in the foot again. Because I only asked for like $20 on that one. And I did have one guy send me an offer for $10. It's like, yeah, definitely not going to take that. He's like, well, I'll see if I can budget the money then. It's like, well, good luck. But at the same time, there's somebody that's already talking about it, so we'll see. But yeah. But like just the way everything came together with the little bit that I posted on Facebook, it's like, okay, I feel better because stuff is moving now, right? It's like, it was like there was a blockage because, of course, I hadn't made the moves on doing the things at the storage unit because I hadn't really thought about it, other than the bed. And the bed, it was mainly just the concern about bugs or rodents getting into the storage unit and messing it up before I have the time to use it. So I'm probably going to, I'll tell my brother that I'm probably going to post it after all, even though I wasn't going to, because I really like that bed. It's a really nice bed. But this one is a pain in the ass to move, and it would probably, honestly, just need to go to the dump, and that's a lot of trouble. So the other one is in good shape, and I could get some money out of it. So I'll probably go ahead and post it. And I'll probably post it with the mention that I don't want to get rid of it because it's a really good bed, but I also don't want it to get screwed up since it's cooling off outside, and, you know, bugs might potentially be moving in. I don't want it to get messed up before I have the chance to use it, or anybody else does. So, yeah. But we'll see. You know, and it's still, you know, my mom's she's trying to sell things on Facebook currently too. She's finally got moving on that. But she mentioned it, and it's like, after I had these things posted, it's like, I'm sure she'll say something. I'm probably going to go ahead and post this damn Foot Locker after I get off of here, so I can have that handled. I figured I would post most of this stuff this evening because I was thinking that seemed to be a good time to post it when, like, you know, I wake up and, like, I have all these messages. Which, not that I really wanted to deal with a whole bunch of messages first thing in the morning, but I was excited that the energy is moving. So it's like there's possibilities now. And I just, you know, yesterday in the video I said, if I had, you know, if I had $15 more than what I had at that moment, it would cover my storage unit. Well, today I got 21, or yeah, last night and today I got $21. So, however, there was something else that came out of my bank account, so that now needs a little more than that bit. But I did think it was funny, however, that whatever came out took my bank account to 5432, 5432. It's like, all right, countdowns. Cool. On the way this morning, of course, I was kind of thinking, it's like, man, is it going to be worth it to go take this, you know, this dress or nightstand over to this girl? And, you know, since I forgot to ask for additional money for the gas on getting over there and all that stuff, normally that's like one of the first things. But since it's been a while since I had anything posted, forgot all about it. And so it's like, well, I already said I would, so fuck it, I'm going to do it. The other thing is, you know, where she wanted me to meet, I mean, she was at work, so where I ended up meeting her at was really close to the blood center. So, like, that's kind of the other pieces. Normally, if I'm going to meet up with somebody in that area to sell something, I will try to make it around a time that I'm going to the blood center. I think they closed at like noon today. Won't swear to that, but I'm pretty sure. I think Thursday's their late night, and then they close at like 7 or something, and then Friday it's like noon. Usually go on like Tuesday or Wednesday. Either way, I forgot to have, you know, to put that in my thought process and plan around something like that. So didn't happen. So I just took the thing over there, and it was fine. And it was kind of funny because on the way, first off, I was thinking about all sorts of things. And while I was doing that, I looked at the clock and caught 11:11. And when I looked over at the trip mileage, it was at 111.1. So it's like, okay, so here's two 11:11s. So, you know, I think the Twin Flames 11:11 page talks about how that's like a sign of entering an important new phase in the journey. So we'll see. However, I did also see his birth date, and on a mailbox that I, like the path that I went, I've been that way a few times in the past several months, but it's not very much, and they were like very unusual circumstances. Like one was, there's this place called Do It Differently Fitness or something like that, that was having like a, what did they call it? A day where they had a bunch of people that were offering classes, and it was, all the classes were free that day for like just like an intro kind of class, so you can see if it was something like pole dancing. Like, is this something that you enjoy and want to do more of? And I really liked the, I think it was the silks, but I mean, that's kind of, I enjoyed it that day. And I would love to do it again, but at the same time, not high on the priority list when I gotta figure other stuff out first. So, at some point, at some point, maybe I'll have a room in my house where I can have one, the silks hanging from the ceiling and go mess around with them whenever the fuck I feel like it. But until then, it was fun for the day anyway. But that was that way. So that was something that was, like, I've been to that place twice now. But that's kind of unusual, right? So I did that, and there was something else, because it's over, also by the, there's this little Cool Ponds shop that, you know, does like, landscape ponds and whatnot, and they've come out here to, clean our pond several times, and I've been there a couple times this year. So it's like those things. So unusual means of why I was there, because I don't normally go to the pond place. It was just, well, honestly, when the guys were out here and cleaned it, they threw out a plant that I think they thought was dead, but it was not dead, and it made me very sad. Because it was this hibiscus plant, and it had these like bright burgundy colored hibiscus flowers, and that thing was gorgeous. The basket was looking a bit overgrown and snuggly and all that crap, so they chucked it. So I did go replace that. However, the one that I got, of course, didn't bloom this year. So, and at this point, my parents are now talking about, if nobody's going to take care of it or even enjoy it, then we might as well just fill it in. It's like, well, I'm not planning on being here much longer, so that's not going to be on me. However, if that's what you're doing, then whatever. Anyway, it was like a big ordeal putting the damn thing in to begin with. And it is not the same one we started with, because we started with like the ones with like the plastic lining and all that. However, it is overgrown. We could probably stand to, honestly, that's something she probably hadn't thought about. We could probably like post in the marketplace groups and see if anybody wants to come get some pond plants, because we have done that before. And it would clear some of them out, because it's a hot mess. But yeah, if they're just gonna fill it in, I mean, I probably wouldn't have wasted my money on the hibiscus plant, but here we are. There were like 3 plants that I got as a Mother's Day thing, and you know how I feel about Mother's Day, and so whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, so like the whole way out there, and honestly, I had this whole thought. What I was thinking about, it was like, okay, multi-layers, and see if I can get back to the thing after I start with the other thing. So part of the story that I didn't get to yesterday on when I was running the other day, I talked about like the so like I got sidetracked with twin flame stuff, but it was relevant because when I was running, it was twin flame stuff that I like started flashing to mind. It was basically envisioning like a future or whatever, that kind of a thing. So I'm running along, and all at once I see myself like holding this baby, and in the space that we're in, he's there with me, and I'm holding our baby, and then he's holding me and our baby, right? So, like, there's that whole, that's like, I'm running, and then all at once I'm seeing this in my head. And then I had this little, like, this thought that chimed in where it felt like it was coming from his mother, but I don't know. But I heard this voice that kind of chimed in talking about, how kids were raised back when I was back when I was a baby, and, they were all about, trying to make babies self-regulate and all this bullshit. And, just let them cry it out and all this stuff. I've talked about that on here many times, and how damaging that is. And, in my experience, it's like, I have, like the extreme to which I was like convinced that nothing was safe, but then it makes sense with like this whole idea of making the infant self-regulate or whatever, and so you just let them cry when they're crying rather than tending to their needs, right? So if it's not a diaper change that's necessary or feeding or whatever, then you just let them cry. And, that's very shitty. And like the thing I was reading was talking about how, of course, infants are not meant to self-regulate. We, as adults, are meant to help them self-regulate and learn to do that and all that stuff. So basically what happens is when you just force the baby to cry all the time, then rather than self-regulating like they told us, or like they told people was supposed to be what was going to happen, instead you just had like babies shutting down because it's not safe, nobody's coming, and just like all these things, right? So then that, you know, how much that gets paired with like the worthiness wound and abandonment wound and all this stuff. It's just like the depths of this thing, man. So this voice in my vision pops in and says, oh, well, this was how we did it back then. And I was just like, no, we will not ever be doing that because that's fucking wrong, right? And, you know, kind of like very much shutting it down immediately. And, you know, like that intuitive voice chiming in like, good job, keep going, you're getting it. So yeah, like then I just kind of like, I really learned that I really like running, because if I'm running and my body is preoccupied and my mind can wander, I can just flash into these little visions and whatnot. And I was thinking, at one level, it was like, I mean, like, it doesn't have to be the full thing by any means, but like the vision of me holding this baby, right? And then the twin flame holding me and the baby. So at the one level, it's like a flash into a future possibility, right? And then at the other level, it's like also that all this work that we've both been doing, because of course I've shared my work on this this whole journey. Like, that's the whole point of my YouTube channel, is my healing process, sharing my growth and everything that's happening. And even if I sound like a fucking nut job and off my rocker, still taking the risk to put myself out there, because this is what I know I'm supposed to be doing, sharing that process and all that's all the highs and lows that have come from it. And I don't know how many hours I've spent crying on videos and whatnot, but it's been a bunch. But anyway, like the other thought, like the other level of it was like feeling like, you know, like this baby represents like all this work that I've been doing to focus on my own healing. And you know, the like he like stepped in, and it's like I felt me holding the baby starting out, and then as I kind of settled into that moment, then I also felt him like step up behind me and like surround me in this moment too. So it was like, yeah. So then, like, I was thinking, so yeah, maybe it's a vision of something for the future. I've seen shit before, right? You know, I've talked about Tyler's death, and, you know, knowing that I was going to be 40 before I started making sense of things. And then, of course, the 5 guys in the band that I knew were going to be very important to me, that I've talked about on here a lot too. There's been a bunch of other things. And the crazy thing is, those 3 were the ones that I always, you know, like, I tried to shut down the Tyler part of that for a long time, tried to run away from that possibility. It ended up happening anyway. And then making the connection that because of that, then it opened the door for me to be able to start making sense of things when I turned 40. But phone's at 30%. Okay, we're all right. We're all right. Excuse me. So could have used that. Could have used not getting distracted in that moment, because oops, now I don't remember. I derailed my train. Oh, but like just the healing process, like that part of it, like the baby represents this thing that we're creating together through the act of both of us doing our healing work, right? So it's like the new potentials and possibilities that have opened up that wouldn't have been there before, right? So going back to that point when, when the voice chimed in and said, "That's the one you've been looking for all your life." And my immediate reaction was, yeah, right, he's out of my league, right? So, like, in that time frame, like, any of the rest of this, and, talking out of my head sounding all crazy, it just sounds crazy, right? And, yeah, so, anyway, so it's like, it also represents, just new possibilities because of these other things, because, and there was that level too of, because I stood up to, it seemed like it was his mom, but I don't know that it was. That's just who it seemed like the connection was when I was hearing it. But that could just been for the sake of needing to hear it in somebody's voice, and needing to step up for something that, somebody might think me stupid for or whatever, because that was the way that things were done back then, which is interesting to me, honestly. Like, I don't know that he was, well, I think he was. Okay, I've been seeing a lot of stuff, like, okay, so this was Wednesday, I had this vision pop into my head, and, like, I, like, snapped back, and, we are not doing that way anymore. It's like, that was a shit way of doing things, and it was very destructive and harmful for a lot of people, including me, and it's taken me a long time to heal from wounds that, that probably initiated. So, that being this week, I think, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, I got on Instagram and see that apparently there's this James Dobson dude who was like, basically, he's in the church and was very much an active piece in creating the idea of, childcare that has resulted in substantial abuse for, lots and lots and lots of people. Lots and lots of kids have been harmed by the things that he was pushing. And, so it just seems really interesting. And I just saw 222. So going on with the synchronicities, it's just weird. It's like, I have this vision on Wednesday, and I'm holding this baby, and somebody chimes in with, "Oh, well, the way we used to do it," or whatever, and I like snapped back and was like, "Fuck no, that's over with." And then, like, later I find out this dude who's like pretty big into the shit that has resulted in so much damage and abuse is dead. It's like, huh. So it's just kind of weird how, like, everything seems to be playing together. But it goes back to that, as I've said many, many times. Everything is connected, right? So, like, what do you know about it? Hey. You take a break, too. We got it. And now we're doing this again. Okay. I don't know what their deal is, because they still got some time before it is their time. 3333. Anyway. Check this out. I love this. I don't think I showed it off today. That makes me so happy. No! Alright. Psyched them out, and they're probably not happy, because now they're just on the other side of the door. But yeah. So. Anyway, just weird connections. There was a reason I went down that path. Twin flame stuff. I don't know, but anyway, like when I was going out to take that nightstand to that lady today, I see the two 1111s, or, well, 1111 and then 111.1. So, also, because that was the trip mileage, my odometer was at, like, oh, that was a weird one, 987 on the odometer, And then I passed a mailbox that was 65432. Wait, 6543. 6543. Yeah, that one. 444. That must be right. But anyway, it was like 9876543. So it's like, that's like all connected. That's like a big countdown, right? So I might have already talked about that. I don't know. Anyway, after I dropped that off and, got the money for it and all that stuff, I was driving back home. And okay, first off, I turned out onto this road where I was going down to the stoplight to go through at the stoplight, right? As I'm getting ready to turn at the next stoplight, there's this guy that's like sitting there with the sign for money. And I think it was like one of very few times that I felt really inclined to give them money. And it was kind of funny because I had $2 bills that were in my, two $1 bills, not like $2 bills, but that were in my little billfold thing. It's not a real wallet or anything. It's just a little pouch that I put my cards and a little bit of cash in when I have it. And I just have it in my back pocket when I go somewhere, so I have it, right? I don't carry a purse right now, so I just have this thing in my back pocket. So anyway, the $2 bills that I had in it, one of them I had in there because when the first time I went back to class, I paid with a 20, and in the change, one of the dollars that they gave me back had 1111 on the serial number. It's like, well, keeping that, obviously. And then the other day I went to the ice cream place and was looking at the dollars that I had on me as well as like what was in the car. And I pulled this one out and I looked at it and it had 9999. It's like, clearly I shuffled some and ended up keeping that one too. So I had these two, the ones and the nines. And it's like, well, I feel like I'm going to hang on to these because that's kind of cool. So I did. So today, when I was driving past this guy, I just felt really inclined. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna let him have them. And it's like, it really just, like, I was really hit with the fact that yesterday morning I woke up anxious about this, how it was, like, the possibilities and how anything was going to work out. And, I wrote and I got an idea, right? And then I went and put forth the action to do the thing. And then, it resulted in getting money, right? So it's like, clearly the universe has ways. Honestly, yesterday I said I was going to post them on OfferUp and not Facebook just to keep my mom out of it. But after seeing how some of it's been going, it's like, yeah, I gotta go Facebook. I think there is a way that I should be able to block her from it, but I don't know. So last time I tried looking into that option, it was specifically, I think the option was block friends, or like from being able to see it. It's like, I don't care about the majority of my friends list seeing that. If somebody wants to buy it off me, great. I want my mother to stay out of it. That's my priority, right? Because I know, like, she's got a history of pissing all over shit. So I'm not interested in trying to do something just for her to get in the middle of it and, fuck it up for me. So, and likewise, that damn Foot Locker, I mean, granted, it's working out because I'm sure I'll be able to get some money out of it this time around. But still, like, the reason I still have it is because she got in the way. So, yeah. But anyway, so I gave this guy money as soon as I, went, because the light was red, and he was just sitting there at, the very the very end of the thing, and they were like, I was like the fourth car back. So I got these $2 out, and as I drove up, I stuck my hand out the car and, kind of grabbed the money out of my hand, said thank you. And, as I went into my turn, the first truck that I see has 333 on the truck ID number. It's like, ha! It's like, I knew I was supposed to do that. And, it feels like I'm in a better space too. I was seeing the numbers all over the place. Of course, I had 987 on the odometer for a while. By the time I was about halfway back, it was, at one point it was at 9999 on there. So it was like, I just kept seeing stuff. I saw 1212 on the clock on the way back. Threes on something else. There was just a bunch of them. So it was like, clearly I am where I'm supposed to be in this moment. And, even when I pulled into the driveway, then the odometer had 1010 in it, and it had just shifted. So it was like, huh. So it's like, just roll it in. Here it is. But, when I was thinking on the way back, is or after I gave that guy money, of course the voices pop into my head because, I've seen the, I've heard a lot of people talking about, well, you don't know where that money's going to go and all this stuff. And so immediately after I give him the money, I start hearing the things that I've heard over time with, why you're not supposed to give panhandlers money and whatnot. And my immediate response when that first started opening up was just, no, I don't know what he's going to use it for. It's $2. It's not like it's going to go especially far. However, what I do know is the universe is obviously showing up for me, because yesterday, this thing that I had a big block on, I was given the path that allowed me to have a direction on, a way I can get rid of some stuff and also get a little bit of cash, right? So obviously it's not something huge. It's not going to, solve the future money concerns. But, I was figuring it up last night. It's like, if I can sell enough stuff that I get $200 back, that, not counting, having nothing to do with what's in the bank account one way or another, just $200 through the first week of September will pay everything that I have in that time. So it's like, there's not a whole lot, but it's like, now there's this opportunity, and now, I'm 21 down on that. So, so it's like, I don't know what he's going to spend the money on. And at the same time, the things that I'm selling, people don't know what I'm going to use that money on, and it doesn't fucking matter, right? But it's like, what I do know is the universe has opened up this path for me when I was really anxious and not sure what was going on and what I could do, and just was trying not to cycle myself back into, making myself sick over it, but also kind of on the path of doing that. So it's like, I was just thinking, it's like, with everything that I've been working through and kind of navigating my way through on this journey, it's like, okay, whatever happens, okay, essentially, I'm just going to throw this point out there. What I do know is he is very much a divine being as well, right? That's something we all have in common. As I've said many times, it's like, our lives are simply divine reference points. It's like, these series of things results in this, right? My whole backstory and the journey that I've been on, this twin flame connection and everything, being my motivating, driving factor on the healing process and getting my healing work in, but then just I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know what he's going to use the money for. I may never see him again. What I do know is he, too, is a divine being. And at the end of the day, I mean, we rise together, we fall together, right? So, like, if you pay attention to the news or anything, you'll see how we fall together, right? It's like all this negativity and everybody just like, sucking the life out of each other and, finding all the ways to pull each other down. Either we rise together or we fall together. And I'm really sick and tired of the fall pathway, right? So let's fucking rise together then, right? So I'm being helped by the universe and this whole thing and like this whole freaking journey. So now that I really am coming to understand that, I feel like I want to share that. I want to help other people see for themselves what I've been learning and seeing for myself, right? And even if I sound crazy in the process, I've kind of always known that was like a big part of my path. I've talked a lot on here about how that's why there's been some mental health issues in the family, because that was something that I was going to have to contend with. And am I just crazy? Well, maybe, but having more fun than I've ever had in my life at this point. So that's always a bonus too, I think. So yeah. Okay. I know there was more that I wanted to talk about today. At least I think there was. Ooh. Yesterday, I posted yesterday's video, and I was looking to see where I'm at. I have 268 videos at present that are posted. I was like, okay, so that's pretty close to 300. It's like, I don't want to math, I'll be honest. I don't want to math it out right at this point in time. But I was like, I know for a fact I will have that done before my 2-year anniversary of doing the YouTube thing, right? So, it's like, I feel like I could probably, push to get that in, like, way before then. I don't know. Okay, so we're in August. Like, we still got a week left in August, and we got the whole month of September. Maybe I should push for 10/10. Can I have 300 videos done by 10/10? Probably. I don't know. I don't know how much that would make me. See, the funny thing is when I started actually seeing any kind of growth on my channel anyway, it was at the time that, okay, I hit the 1-year anniversary, which was 11/11, right? So 11/11/23, I started the channel, started doing videos. They were very slow. They were very painful. I'm not going to say they've improved a lot. I think I'm a lot happier now, but, that's been a whole process too. And I've cried my way through a whole lot of shit on here. But by the time, there was a span of time in that first year where, when the family friend was out of town and I was going over to her house to hang out with her dog a bunch, there was a span of time where I do, 2 or 3 videos in a day for that week. And then there were a few days that I would still do a couple, even though I wasn't, I didn't have the same situation. But there's just a lot of stuff that I wanted to get out of my system and kind of talk my way through, right? So there were also big gaps where I didn't do any. So I did videos through, November, December, and then I got really overwhelmed. It was just I'd expanded, the fact that I was doing the thing was enough that, to show that I had expanded so far beyond what I thought I was capable of, because, before it's I wasn't trying to put myself out there. I was trying to go unnoticed, right? So I've talked about, how even in my dreams, I have had a lot of dreams where I was hiding in the bathroom at some point, or at some level, right? And I got to a point where it's like, why are all my dreams happening in the bathroom? And it's like, oh, because I've been hiding out. And it's like, oh, because that's literally what I've done most of my life. I remember doing that in high school and middle school. It's like, just the aggravation of being around peers anywhere. It's like the bathroom was a good space to go to get away from the people and to not have the people staring at you and all that stuff. And, I've talked about, the time where I invited the demons in, and that was not, I've cleared that by now, but it took a really long time. But one of the first things that happened after I invited that in, when I was in 6th grade, was like I had posters on my wall, and, from like Teen Beat and Tiger Beat and all those silly magazines and all the boys and that stuff. I got to a point shortly after that it's like I couldn't stand having the eyes on the on the pictures. It's like I had to take down all the posters. Like I went from having my walls pretty much covered, kind of like this, to not a damn thing because I could not stand having the eyes look at me. And it was kind of the same way when, because that was just like a representation of it, because those are pictures of people that appear to be looking at me, right? But like then in real life, where I'm going to school and there's people looking at me, it's like it was safest to hide in the bathroom. So I spent a lot of time hiding out in the bathroom because I didn't want people to latch onto my energy, which, like I said, there's been a lot of work that had to be done to clear that out of my system. But it was still a thing that, happened, right? So, okay, why did I get there? I don't even know. Oh, because, when it came back to doing the YouTube thing, the idea of being watched was terrifying, right? So it was a long time. I did not try to grow. I'm still not actively trying to grow it. I talked about it at one point, and it was like, I think, when I talked about it back in I think it was May, the bigger thing was just being open to the possibility of the channel actually growing. Because okay, first year, 11/11/23, because of course 1/1/1/1, and also 1/2/3. I started doing the channel, right? And my first 3 subscribers, I cried because I thought I was like, what if I fail? What if I can't do this? It's like I didn't even know what I was supposed to be doing. I just knew this was part of it, and it's like, what if I suck at it? What if I can't do this? And it was kind of silly because in the first 2 months, I think I only did 8 to 10 videos. And then I had to take a break because it was just, I'd already expanded so much beyond what I thought I was capable of. And it's like, yeah. So then I had to kind of recover and make space for myself. And it's like, okay, so now that I've done this thing that I didn't think it was possible for me to do, what does that mean for me? And then all throughout February, I felt like I was supposed to start back with the videos. But I was kind of dragging my feet about it until I have the dream in March. That was an interesting dream. March 2024. I have the dream where it starts out, I'm in this bathroom stall. And it's like, there's a lot of dark wood in the bathroom, even the stall walls. Excuse me. And it's like I burped and my belly made a noise at the same time. So I don't know if you heard either of that, but that was kind of weird. Anyway, but that dream starting out, I was in the stall and on this dark wall in the stall, and on the walls in the bathroom space, which had like a really high ceiling for whatever reason. I talked about there were like, it seemed like home movies were playing out. 5, 4, 3, 2. While I was there. And it was like his memories. And it was like, I felt like I didn't have the right to access any of that information. Like I didn't know what it was, but it seemed like he was traveling with some people, and it's like, okay, so there's this like tour memory thing or something. But it's like, I felt like I had no business trying to figure out what was playing on these walls, even though it's my fucking dream, right? So in the dream, there's these movies or like these videos playing on the walls everywhere, and it was like all throughout this space they were the same thing, and it was his stuff, and it's like, why is it everywhere? And I feel really uncomfortable at the idea of looking at what's going on in this space. But going back to the stall, so I'm in the stall, and there's a girl sitting outside of the bathroom leaning on the like the piece that goes to the floor in between the stalls. She's leaning against that, and she says, "You need to start sharing the story you already have to share before more of your mission will be revealed." It's like, obviously that is a dead giveaway, or dead dead on. It is time to get back to work, right? So started doing the thing, and that's been a whole journey too. But also in that dream, going back to the twin flame stuff, because I feel like it's his, they're like home movies, but it's like something with him on tour or whatever. And I'm just like trying hard not to look at anything, even though I'm like also really curious about what's going on. I felt like it was invasive, even though it showed up in my dream. And then, I talked about how like the next scene in this dream, I'm like crawling through, it's like there's this room with the dark wood on the walls, and there's like columns in the middle of the room throughout that are all this dark wood, and it's like the floor is like a I don't know, a lighter tile kind of a color or something. So it's not completely just this dark wood, but like the big focus is like so much of it was the dark wood, right? So anyway, so I'm crawling into this room, and there's this like huge, it's like a room full of people, and I'm behind them, but I'm crawling through on this like, one of those thick like comfort ergonomic whatever comfort mat things, and I'm just trying to go unnoticed by the crowd, right? And then he comes in from another direction, crawling through on one of these mats as well. And it's like we're both trying to go unnoticed, but as soon as our paths cross, then we're up, and like we don't care about anybody else anymore. It's like we have a mission. We're on this mission, and it's like, we like take off down this hallway away from the people, and I had the sense that he had more awareness of what was going on than I did, which actually links up with it's a Natural Mystic video that I watched back in that time frame, where she was talking about, when the Divine Feminine is doing some of her work, and how does it? She said something, but she said, I don't remember the full context of what she was saying, but she made this little offhand remark about who even knows what the Divine Masculine's doing at this point in time. But then I have this dream, and it's like he knows what's going on and I don't. So it's like I'm following him, and we're on this mission. And then all at once he like ages backwards in front of me. It's like, so what I took that to mean when I woke up was that he wasn't ready yet. So it's like, okay, so is that just not ready for me to know what's going on? Because he showed up in my dream, and like his memories are all on my walls and whatnot. Which that too, like the biggest thing that I remember from the dream was it seemed like it was like this gray camper, like everything inside was kind of like this gray kind of color, and it was weird because I think earlier this year, or maybe the end of last year, so we're at 2025 right now. I feel like he was on tour and traveling and something like that. And like that was the first thing. Like he and one of his friends did a video where he was in this thing, and it was like, is that what I saw? It's like now I'm just really curious about like all this stuff that I was trying hard not to look at because I thought I had no business seeing it. But then like he put something on social media, and it's like that looks like my dream. So that's weird. But yeah, so there's that. How the hell did I wander there? Bathrooms. I know bathrooms were a big part of it. Oh, this has nothing to do with that. I'm just gonna wander a whole nother direction now, or another tangent, I guess. This morning, I talked about how Wayne Dyer keeps coming to mind here lately, and like I have these little things that pop up, and then like the other day there's something with writing, and then it's like so maybe I want to spend time writing in the morning, and then another time like last Saturday I was up early, and then I was thinking, well, I heard Wayne Dyer talking about how he was like running every day, and it's like I haven't ran in a long time, and I feel like I probably should, because at some point skating's not going to be a possibility, and I'll probably still want to exercise. So I feel like if I start running, then I could maybe get a little used to that and maybe not kill myself when I end up somewhere and want to run, because maybe I'll have built up by then, right? So yeah, so it's like Wayne Dyer keeps coming to mind. So yesterday morning when I woke up and I was all pessimistic and like anxious about everything, and then I followed it up with something, I was like, he has stuff online, so I should find something. And I think the one that I found yesterday was talking about, don't block your abundance. That's a big thing. Worry and fear are two of the biggest ways we block our abundance from being able to get to us, right? So like the universe has all these ways to get you what you need, but so often we're the thing that stands in the way, because if you don't believe that the universe has your back and that the universe is going to provide, then you block it from being able to, right? So it's like your own fear is the thing getting in the way. So I was trying not to do that, right? So then I found like something where I found the thing he was talking about that. So I listened to that. I don't even remember what it was titled. But it got my attention after I was done writing and made the connections about the selling stuff. And then I listened to his stuff and I fell asleep. And then this morning, I decided to look up another one. And this morning, I think the one I came across was talking about basically how you're never off path. Like, you're always exactly where you're supposed to be. And, like, I think he was talking about, like, he said something about, like, the first several books that he had written, he mentioned the word God, like, once in all of them. And he said then after that, like, the next one was, like, 37 times, which, there's one of my numbers, actually. I didn't think of that earlier when I heard it. But that's irrelevant for me, so hey, cool. But yeah, he's talking about, like, he said there was a span of time when he felt led to pursue the path of Taoism, I think. And he said that was about a year. And he still wrote in that time, I think. And then I don't remember what shifted from that, but like just like everything he was talking about, it's like, ooh, it's like, yeah, this just fits, this works. It's like, I understand this, right? So that was before I got up and started, my fun little journey today. Anyway, I was thinking, or I've been thinking a lot lately, that like even in the post where I did the letter thing to the twin flame counterpart, I've been thinking a lot. It's like I've mentioned him, I've mentioned his name, I've actually mentioned a lot of things that are actually pertain to him in a roundabout way. 444. But like I feel like a lot of what I'm supposed to be focusing on too is like more of the dream stuff and like connecting with him in the dream space, because I feel like that'll be the thing that really, whenever he comes across my stuff, if that has or hasn't happened yet, whatever, no doubt in my mind that at some point it will if it has not, but I feel like that's kind of where the connection will make more sense, because most of what I'm talking about is stuff that's happened in dreams. So then I am very convinced that in the dream space, like the one that I was talking about a little bit ago, where his memories are on the wall or whatever, and then we cross paths and then we're up and running, and then he like ages backwards in front of me. Like that one. Like, it's like, there's always, it always feels very real. It's like there's something more to this, right? So it's like that, the energetic connection piece, and it's like, okay, if you hear anything about like the twin flame connection anyway, that's like a thing where it's like shared dreams, like actually the dreams you have when you're sleeping or even in your waking hours or whatever. It's like some of those things, like the connection points in those. And it's kind of weird because today I don't know what it was that brought it to mind, but they were like, okay, when I started, okay, at some point in time, let's see if I can do this and then get back to the point that I was going to. That's usually iffy, and my phone's at 15% now. Okay, so I used to say a lot that I struggled with the dreaming side of things, right? Like I didn't know what I want for myself in my life, or I didn't, where would I go if I could go anywhere? I don't know. And then I talked about how like my sister-in-law and my brother said back in December 2024, when they started thinking about moving, they told me then that if they moved, I would be welcome to go with them. And that was the first thing that was really like a possibility, right? So it's like, there's like the foot in the door kind of thing. It's like, ooh, what's around here? But it gave me some space to start thinking about it, right? So then I start, connecting back to stuff that has come up along the way. And, Philadelphia is a big theme that has come up a ridiculous amount of times. And I just deleted a picture off my phone yesterday that I sent to, or I don't know, it was yesterday, sometime this week, that I sent to my brother. It was when I took my dad to his, was it just this thing? Because I didn't feel like it was that building, but maybe it was one of his eye appointments. I think it was the one where they took a chunk of the artery from his eye or whatever. Oh, great, my aunt's calling me. She'll have to wait a minute. And damn it. My aunt's calling me, and now that thing's staring at me, and I'm not going to hit the red button because the last time I tried to hit the red button, I dropped my phone and like killed my whole video, and I'm not trying to do that. Okay, it's gone now. But it was just staring at me, so I couldn't figure out what I was doing. Anyway, the picture that I deleted off my phone, it was, I talked to my brother about, I talked to him about Philadelphia, that had been a thing that kept coming up for me. And when I mentioned it to him, he had a Phillies hat on the counter in front of him. And it's like, I hadn't even registered that. Like, I think it was facing him too. And like, as soon as I started talking about that, he just picks it up and like shows it to me. It's like, see, it's everywhere. But yeah, like I sent him a picture because that day when I went to pick them up at the building after the thing was done, it was Philadelphia Freedom by Elton John, I believe, which is funny because the last appointment that I had with Annie, and we were talking about that, she said she's hearing Philadelphia, and the one she knew was Elton John. It's like, I don't know that one. I said the one that keeps coming up for me is Motown Philly. So, but yeah, then that day, like, it randomly came up, and then I immediately thought about what she said, and then I took a picture of it and sent it to my brother, and she was like, yeah, see, it's everywhere. Like, it keeps coming up. But anyway, that was, like, the first thing on that end, right? And then when I was trying to figure out, like, anything, what would I do, period, right? What if I could do anything? What? There's a lot of these ideas and whatnot. Uh-oh. No. Anyway. I don't remember the full backstory on my painting now, my wall space, right? But, oh, yeah, okay. So, what happened was something with, I had the holes in the wall, right? From moving my DVD rack over there. I moved it from that wall that is now a tree over to that wall. And when I did so, I realized that my dad had like just put a bunch of holes in the wall, right? There's 111 and, you know, there's another one on the count up on that point. Well, I was talking about that. But anyway, so he just put a bunch of holes in the wall. So it's like, all right, well, I got to patch that shit. And I knew I wanted to rearrange some stuff. I had a bird cage there for a while. For a while, it covered it enough that it wasn't a problem. But then when I started like thinning out the birds, then that had to change, right? Well, since I didn't have any of the paint left, that the color that it was, I know I have a spot up there somewhere. It was like this indigo color, and yeah, it's up there, but I don't think I'll be able to show it in this lighting. But anyway, so I didn't have that, but what I had was like 12 cans of paints that I had collected from my brother's house. You know, part of it was from a rainbow wall that I put on the wall in Gracie's old room, and you know, just some other odds and ends that I'd collected or they collected. They were going to leave it behind with the house, and I was like, I'll take it. One thing I do like is good free paint or cheap paint. So I like shopping at like Lowe's in the clearance paint section. That's actually part of how I got into my my frame hobby. Oh, you can't see any of them right now. Okay. Here, that's better. The frames that I enjoy painting, whatnot. Just a few that are close. There's a bunch of them in here. So like finding clearance paint at Lowe's, I got some random spray paints. It's like, I like these colors. These aren't them. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. And then I just started finding stuff. It's like, ooh, I could paint that. You know, so then I got really excited. You know, I started painting like frames and stuff. It's like, ooh, this is a fun hobby that I'm acquiring. But, you know, like even then it wasn't immediately that I pieced it all together. Like I think the clearance paints were from shortly after I moved back from, or while I was getting my divorce. So 2019, 2020, early that time frame. And then, you know, painting Gracie's rainbow wall. I don't remember when that was. It was shortly before they moved out of that house and into the next house. And there were threats of having a rainbow wall put in her room there, but then it was kind of they never really seemed like they fully moved into that space. And kind of always just knew that it was a temporary thing. So my uncle's picking up sticks. I'm wondering if they're wanting to have a if they're wanting to burn stuff, which I do have some stuff that I could go shove out there real quick. But anyway, after this, oh, where am I at? 13%. Okay, we're still there. We're okay. So then, I have all these paints, and I decide to do the tree, right? I'm just gonna walk over here so you can still kind of see my tree. Because that wall right there was the one that had the holes in it. So that was kind of my start point. And, I had all these different paints. It's like, what am I gonna do? I knew I wanted to paint that little section. I thought it was just going to be like, that wall and that wall, but that little bit, it's like, I started doing the tree. It's like, I painted a tree once and I liked how it turned out, so maybe I'll do that. So I did that, right? And then next thing I know, I end up with this chaos, so I think I zoomed in out there. And this is like way more chaotic than this, obviously, but still obviously plenty of chaos over there, right? And my blue up there, and try to get my all the junk out of the way. This, right? So next thing I know, like when I'm finally able to, like I finally start piecing together this little house, right? The house, that's where I was going. I see this little house, like, I don't know. Mostly I've thought of it as like 2 bedrooms and, a couple bathrooms, and it's just like a space. It's my space, right? And I've tried to draw it before. Again, drawing is not my strong suit, so. But yeah, like I've kept seeing this space, and then I've like when I was laying here looking at this chaos wall over here, because that's obviously where I can see from my bed. And I started seeing my space at this other house painted that way. It's like, ooh, I could do that in my own space because I really like how it's painted. Take a break. It is now her dinner time, and she knows it. And she also does not like being locked out. But anyway, after I started seeing this house and seeing this space, I think it's black on the outside. And probably has colorful shutters, to be honest. Or the window, the outside of the windows, it's probably, that's where my color is. But otherwise the house is black. So I started being able to see that, and there's 1717, which 717 is one of those twin flame numbers. But anyway, there was this one day, and I don't remember exactly what the vision was of, other than he was laying on a couch in this space, and I was like walking behind the couch, and we like locked eyes, right? So it's like, I've seen this. It was something that I saw it a bunch for a while, and then I kind of, I mean, it didn't go away per se, but here lately it's like it's back again, and I'm like, like today especially, like I keep seeing us in this space, and we're just kind of like, he's laying on this couch, and I'm like behind the couch walking around, and like we make eye contact, and then it's just like we're just like stuck in this moment. It's like, I feel like those kind of stories are probably going to be more where it's where he, I guess, maybe makes more of the connection of who I am specifically to him, and these shared spaces at that level. But anyway, that's the theory. And obviously I won't be able to make sense of the theory until it comes true, or, or not. So yeah. But since this dog is, I gotta say, I really dig this eye makeup today, and it goes nicely with my shirt. Anyway, it's completely irrelevant. I don't know, I saw the purple. Well, it's supposed to be purple. It looks more pink there, but it's kind of the same. It matches my shirt, so that's why I did it. Oh, and I got these little bad boys, my little blue aliens, to go along with my big alien. Anyway, since that thing's acting up, my phone's about to die, and I'll see what my aunt wanted. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. As always, I appreciate you. Until the next time. See ya.